Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Juan Carlos Brando. I'm so happy to have all of you joining us today in this show with the attorney Margaret W. Wong, who is one of the most important attorneys in the United States of America in regarding to immigration, and she has been a very important person not only for the immigration system but also for the government. She has been in different encounters with former President Obama, President Biden, Ms. Kamala Harris, Ms. Hillary Clinton. Well, our attorney Margaret W. Wong is a very important person that has been awarded several times, and not only her, but also her team has been awarded by the immigration system, by several academies that have evaluated law firms throughout the years, and they have awarded her and the law firm as one of the most important in the United States of America. So let's welcome the attorney Margaret W. Wong today in this show. Hello, Ms. Wong. How are you doing today?
I'm good, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And just wanted to ask, how have you become a person of so much influence um, around you and even with the government of the United States of America?
I'm actually very insecure. I'm always scared that I'll lose a case. And I always felt maybe I could do better. So I think and I would like to work with young people, whoever they are, lawyers, doctors, engineers, Uber drivers, translators, anybody. You just have to spend the time learning about it, be humble about it, be intentional. Whoever you talk to, try to do 3 kind acts a day. Try to help people, and don't always think about money. I mean, don't get me wrong. Money is not evil. A lot of young people say, oh, we should not charge and we should not do this. Money is very important. But on the other hand, you just have to work it every Saturday for the past 40, 50 years. I read up all the new information about immigration practice. In the olden days, we have interpreter release, we have giants of the industry. Since then, they all have passed away. And now lawyers like us, hopefully we are becoming the giants of the industry at my age. But who knows, the world also has changed. That's why I really like to advise people, young, old, work with it. Read 3 newspapers a day. Know what's around you. Be interested in people. Be a great storyteller. Every asylum case is a story. Every parole is a story. And don't just get mad at, a lot of people say, oh, I didn't like this lawyer because she does this. I didn't like this lawyer. So just be kind and be nice. Immigration work is under a lot of attack lately in the past 10, 15 years, especially after Obama, who is deporter in chief, after Trump, even after Biden now, as you heard, they're talking about Ukrainian aid and Israeli aid, tying it to immigration. What does immigration got to do with national security? So it's just, but work at it, and know who you are, know how much you are worth. Don't just do things with no intention. You do it because you want to do it. You do it to get your people paid. You do it to support your family. You do it to have a good living. And you do it because you also want to help people. Don't just do it because you're stupid or you couldn't say no.
Thank you very much, Ms. Wong, for this advice. And well, that's something that people need to understand about money and about life, because sometimes we're doing stuff that we don't like, and we just do it just to make somebody else happy, because they want us to do something that is even stupid. And one of my friends, he says to his children, because they are teenagers and getting to the 20s, and he says all the time to his children, don't do anything stupid. That's his advice. And his children remind him when they are going out, hey, dad, you know why I don't do something stupid? Why? Because you always say don't do anything stupid. But it's hard, Miss Wong. Today, I was talking to a man, he is like 62. He's a black man, and he said, um, I am 62, and he looks like he was 50 probably. And he says, I was doing drugs 20 years ago, and I was in a very bad situation because of drugs and because of bad habits. But I stepped out of it. It was hard, it was a process, but now I'm healthy and good, and I think I'm going to live a long life. So, how hard is for people that are immigrants to stay away from trouble, Ms. Wong, to stay away from doing uh, stupid things, as you say sometimes, that are going to get us in trouble with immigration and with the police and with the authorities.
I think with immigrants, we already have a legs up because we normally came from, like I said, we're not stupid people, because anybody who came with the H visa, with a tourist visa, undocumented, tried the border 3 times, we're really smart and persistent people. If we're not persistent, if we don't have this survival instinct, we would never cross that border, or we would really be stupid or be murdered or, be kidnapped and not run away, just stuff like that. So, but you're right, you just have to do it, do it, do it, and keep reading books, keep writing maybe a daily journal, keep reading different stuff, because the more you read, the more you understand other people's sorrows and pain, and who are we to compare to that person. And then as we get older and aging, that's when we appreciate life and what life has given us.
Yeah, and that's what I'm learning starting from now. That I'm starting
You're
to
so
get
young, Mr.
in the
Juan
40s.
Carlos,
I'm
baby.
almost in 40s,
Oh, with a
and
new baby.
yeah, but I'm starting to learn to appreciate life and the things of life. So
Congratulations.
that's important for me.
For
Okay, Miss Wong.
men, I think is you may mature later. I think women always think faster because the mother always have the childbearing gifts and stuff. But I really think men being more lucky or maybe equally lucky is that your earning power, your mental, because of the strength that you have, the woman, like even when I'm traveling now, I notice if I carry too many files with me, I need help, to bring my luggage on the top of the plane or something. But I really think young people like you, the 40s are really, and the late 30s, at the height of your mental capability, the height of your power. Nowadays, if I don't have my 8 hours sleep, I'm like, oh, sunk. I still remember when I was your age, I could live for days without water, without food, without sleep, and crank that exam. So you are at your height, and
Yeah. Well,
congratulations.
yeah, it's what people now call I'm in my prime.
Prime, that's right.
You're in
Prime,
your
you're right.
prime,
Yes.
and you
Amazon
have
Prime.
some experience
Prime,
in your prime.
yes. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, Miss Wong. Some people are saying hi, and we have a question here that is coming through our Facebook. It says, "What are the requirements to apply for U visa? I was beat up by 3 men. That can be an U visa case."
Yes, let me explain to you what is. Number one, you have to be a victim of a crime. So, for example, my landlord owes me money, and then is that a crime? No, because even though he owes you money, it's not a crime. So, number one, you have to be a victim of a crime. You have to have reported to police. The police has to have signed the certification. Lately there's more situation like Department of Labor could sign, fire department could sign. You have to be a victim of a serious crime. Number two, you have to have collaborated with them and not be afraid to identify the bad person. In this case, it's 3 men. You have to have eyewitness or something. You cannot be afraid. A lot of people, because they're undocumented, even though they're beaten up, they never report it. Now, 10 years later, they say, oh, but I never reported. Could I do it? If you never report it, you can make a late report, but why would they believe you after 10 years? So number one, you have to be a crime and you have to be a victim. All right. So for example, there was a gun attack in a restaurant, and it's my case. There were 50 people in the restaurant and quite a few people on the surrounding neighbor walking around the street. So the owner called the police. The police came. There were 50 people in the restaurant. So are those victims? So now the police refused to sign some because they claim they were not. The police claimed that because you did not report this crime, you also did not corroborate with us. In fact, when the accident or crime happened, you ran away. So they refused to sign. So if I were you, I will report that right away. Report the police. You also have to have number three, damages. That means you were sick, you had a mental issue, you were traumatized, you went to emergency. So with these three things, you could apply for U visa. But U visa actually is not as simple as it makes it looks like. For one thing, there's only 10,000 numbers a year. Biden is trying to increase it to 30,000, but right now he's not successful. So right now it's taking 7 to 8 years to approve the U visa, but you can get a 4-year work permit after 1.5 to 2 years. So that's the beauty of that U visa. But and you asked a good question. I would like to know, what country are you from? Did you report to police? Did the police investigate? Is there any TV or surveillance? And where were you beaten up? And stuff like that. Was it just in a parking lot? And what happened? Was there a gun and a knife involved? Normally, robbery is not as good as aggravated robbery. If it's just a theft, it's really not as good as someone running into a store, you're working there with a gun on your head. Those are very good cases. So it depends on the circumstances, but absolutely, if you're beaten up, if you report to police and the police were investigated, you're traumatized, yes, you qualify for U visa.
Yes, this person says that he's from Dominican Republic and this happened in Boston.
Good. So if it happened just yesterday, report to the police and make sure they report. Boston is a good city, so it should be okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Wong. And don't forget that you can call the phone number 216-279-3984. And the attorney Margaret W. Wong has offices in 7 cities of the United States that are working every single day from Monday through Friday. And tomorrow, where are you going to be tomorrow, Ms. Wong?
I'll be in my Columbus office.
Columbus office tomorrow in the state of Ohio. So just give them a call. The phone number is 216-279-3984. And the attorney Margaret W. Wong would be happy to take care of your questions. The next question is, hello, Mrs. Wong. What is Heart Service Center? Also, how is it going to help with VAWA cases?
I don't know what's a heart service center. I've never heard of it. You may have meant Nebraska Service Center, California Service Center. There's 4 service centers. How does it help VAWA case? VAWA case, you file the 360 and the 45 if there's no perm bar. And VAWA, you should be able to get a work permit, at least a C14 after maybe 9 months to 1.5 or 2.5 years. But if you file the 45 with it, you can get a C9 for 5 years. C9 new law after October 1st. But I don't know what's a heart service. I don't think there's such a thing called a heart service center.
I think it's something really new, Ms. Wong. Is humanitarian adjustment removing conditions on travel documents.
That has nothing to do with VAWA because travel document is more a parole case.
Yeah, I think it's U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services invites you to participate in a humanitarian adjustment, removing conditions on travel documents, Service Center quarterly engagement Friday, September 22nd. I think it's an event that they do.
Give me something new. See, that's why I have to keep learning. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was just an event where they removed some documents, and I think they are registering people online. You just need to go and visit the registration page, and you will be able to remove some conditions if you provide all the documentation that they are going to require from you. So you just need to go online and
If you
Okay.
remind me next week, I can do some reading and research on this, and I'll let you know what it is. I'm pretty good normally at that stuff.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. The next question is, hello, I am Palestinian. I want to apply for asylum because my country is under fire.
Yes, it
I have
had.
lived here for
Actually,
12
that's a
years.
very, very good question. It's not the first time I'm looking at it. Just because, for example, Ukraine now is being attacked, it doesn't mean all Ukrainians could win asylum here. Of course, the chances are very high to win it because the whole country was under attack. If I were you, I would also look at where your parents are from. Are you born in Israel, and what kind of passport do you carry? Because a lot of Palestinian were living in Jordan, so they became Jordanian, or are you Palestinian Jordanian and stuff like that. But I do feel sorry for you, but absolutely the chances are good. So connect Nexus, Nexus, the connection, the connection between you, just because you're Palestinian, why would you be hurt? Were you from Gaza, or were you the part of southern Gaza, or the northern part and stuff like that? And where were your parents living? And how old are you? Because if you're old, it's maybe a better case. If you're young and you never went, so these are things, but it doesn't hurt. And did you miss your 1 year? Did you come to America undocumented, or thought you were here for 12 years? So how did you come to America? Did you get a visa? Where did you get it? Did you get it from Jerusalem or the new American embassy and stuff like that? These are all things I would like to hear. And why didn't you apply within the 1 year? So these are things, and we can do a change of country condition, because at that time you have no fear. Now you have a fear. Connect your home with where it was bombed, and say if you go back, you would really be bombed. Then they're talking about relocation. Why couldn't you relocate to another? Gaza is only so small. So these are things, but absolutely don't give it up. I think it's not a bad case, but you have to connect it and look at future fear, past fear, acquiescence of the government versus no government, stuff like that. It'll be a fun case, I think, and you get a 5-year work permit. Depends on what status you're now.
Okay,
And
thank
make
you
sure
so
you
much.
did not throw stones, because we have done cases where, and when I was a young lawyer, I didn't know that, because we don't have bullets, we throw stones. Immigration looks as a terrorist act. And I'm sorry, at that time I didn't know. Now I know.
Yeah, and also even if you are in a country that, like Venezuela, that is oppressing people, if you react or you participate in those riots, you could be
Good point. Yeah.
pointed as a
Yeah,
terrorist. So
that's what we
just
call a prosecutorial bar. So, for example, China's one-child policy, so and America is against that, because we're against forced abortion, sterilization. So, if you were a doctor, you were a nurse, invariably you did the sterilization, because that's what people do. So that's what we call a prosecutorial bar, and it's getting worse and worse.
thank you so much, Ms. Wong. Okay, the next question, but before, don't forget that you can call the phone number 216-279-3984. The attorney Margaret W. Wong is still traveling across the country. Tomorrow she will be in Columbus, Ohio, and she has offices in Atlanta, Cleveland, Columbus, Chicago, Nashville, New York, and Raleigh, North Carolina. And the phone number is just one, 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Ma'am, my husband was deported to Senegal. How long would it take to bring him back? He was the sole income of the house of 3 children. I am U.S. citizen.
I'm surprised that, so I don't know why he was deported. Does he have criminal record? Is it overstay? Overstay, he should not be deported. What was the date of deportation? Did you ever file the I-130 for him? Normally from Senegal, it could be, I don't know if he has criminal record. It could be because of criminal record. It could be because of marriage fraud. Was he federally indicted for marriage fraud, illegal transport? Because normally, if you're married to an American citizen, unless you went back to Senegal to marry him later, and if he doesn't have a perm bar, do the I-130, do the pardon, uh, if you can give me more information, I can tell you. But basically, the way to do this is you need to get the FOIA for the deportation. If it's just a merely overstay, then it's easier to bring him back. I would say about 1.5 to 2.5 to 3 years. But you'll need a tax return because as a citizen you need to sponsor your husband, and so it depends how also you got the green card and citizen. When did you marry him? Because if you had children with him before, divorced him, and then marry someone else and get the green card, now remarried him, that's another problem. America is very racist, and I hate to tell you that, because it's just like, why couldn't the Haitians and the Cubans get what Ukrainians get, because Ukrainians are white? I mean, that's one of the rumors. I don't think so. So I'm sorry about that, but Senegal is African American, so sometimes it's very racist. And Kenya is very different from Sudan, and it's not fair because they treat them the same. Nigerians, Congo, it's not fair, but it is what it is.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And we are receiving more questions. Some of them are very long. So let's go with Dedi Sinaga. Dedi Sinaga. Hi, dear Margaret. I am from Indonesia. I got 5-year ban to enter the United States as a result of doing a side job cleaning house while I was studying in California. My ban will expire in March 2024. Does it mean that my ban will be automatically lifted or omitted by in March? Also, I have filed the I-212 waiver but have never heard back from them.
Okay, I got it. So now I presume you're in Indonesia. I don't know why. You probably left the country and come back at the airport. They probably found social media, found your cell phone saying that you were scheduled to work. The fact that you first came on a student visa, which means that your family is not poor. Also, you probably came through Los Angeles airport. It's one of the worst airport, I think, because it's in Indonesia, and Los Angeles is just a bad, I think, because it's where all the non-citizens, now we call them non-citizens. In the olden days, we called them aliens. So we came and we all work illegally, let's face it, when we're studying. So I presume you were kicked out of America, so you get expeditious removal. You need to apply for the tourist visa, I presume, because I presume you're not married to American citizen or green card. So it depends. If you applied for the tourist visa, you did the DS-160, there are two ways they could deny. They could deny because of 214B. There's no waiver, there's no appeal. You just have to reapply 9 months to a year later. But if you apply for tourist visa, student visa, and they deny because of past fraud or past something, now you can do a 192. And also, I don't necessarily think you need a 212 if it's more than, you may. So the first thing you need to do is do a FOIA. You need CIS FOIA, US Visit FOIA, CBP FOIA, and FBI FOIA to see what happened. And also you need to get the I-20, the old I-20, all the grade school records. If you worked illegally, did you file tax return? How did they know you worked illegally? Stuff like that. Now you're ready to file. I presume you already filed for the tourist or student visa, and they want you to file the 212. A lot of younger lawyers, and when I was a young lawyer, also made that mistake. I automatically filed a waiver together with the student visa or together with the tourist visa application. Now I'm smarter now as I get older. In the past 10, 20 years, you wait for that denial and see why they deny. You don't file the waiver that fast, because on the waiver, they make you admit to certain misdeeds. Never know your enemies. Never admit to something if they don't know. So this is how I would do your case if I were you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And don't forget, Daddy, if you want more advice, I just talked to the attorney Margaret W. Wong. Probably she can help you with this case and this 5-year ban. Once it goes away, you can apply for other stuff within the
Mr. Juan
university.
Carlos, this is exactly the same. You know how when you and I, we talk to a lot of clients, that's the same as the Latino expeditious removal. You know how they were sent back to Honduras, they were sent back to Mexico, they were sent back to Colombia or something. That's the 5-year ban. the Asians, we call them the 5-year ban. The Latino people or Hispanics call them expeditious removal instead of voluntary return or catch and release and stuff like that.
Okay,
So
thank
it's
you
the
so
same
much.
case. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for explaining that. And something new that I just learned from you today. Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. Don't forget the phone number 216-279-3984, or you can visit imwong.com. That's the website that you can visit with the attorney Margaret W. Wong. Um, Next question, Ms. Wong, is I have three misdemeanors. Would that affect me to apply for a green card after asylum was granted? Thank you.
The question is, normally asylum normally is harder to grant if you have 3 misdemeanors. So I presume your asylum is not granted yet. It depends also what the 3 misdemeanor is, and also are they committed in America or overseas? Of course, in America it's misdemeanors. So it depends on what it is. If you apply, so it depends. Depends, right? It's a hard question because if they already approve asylum, then you may or may not need a waiver for the green card. My presumption is it was not approved. So for now, you need to talk to your lawyer. If not, I'll help you. You need to do the FBI check. You need to certify judgment entry of the 3 misdemeanors. Don't assume it's misdemeanors. It could be just nothing. It could be a felony because immigration definition of misdemeanors is different from federal criminal case or local or state or county criminal cases.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And yeah, I think this asylum was granted, and probably those misdemeanors are between the grant of the asylum
Oh,
and the application of the green card. That's what I am interpreting.
so how could he have 3 misdemeanors in 1 year? Because you can apply for green card 1 year and 1 day after the final grant. So that may be 3 counts on 1 arrest because normally you don't get arrested 3 times. That's stupid. That is really stupid. Maybe it's 1 arrest and it's 3 counts, and maybe they reduced it to 1. Yeah, but it's 3 different. That's why we need to look at certified judgment entry. You need to look at the indictment records. Normally, it's a small piece of paper like a DUI, a ticket when you're driving or sleeping in the car, stopped or something like that.
I think it was a traffic situation, Ms. Wong, because the person is saying that is a DUI, aggression, and road rage.
Oh, so it's 1 arrest. Then it's not 3 misdemeanors. Let me look at it. Road rage. Let me look at it. Depends on city and state. No, that's okay. Because I
Okay.
presume it's one thing. You were drunk, you were stopped, and they say it's aggression and road rage. And hopefully you didn't have a gun with you. I think you'll be okay. But I hope you did not plead guilty to a DUI or a road rage. Normally they reduce it. So I think you have 3 counts on 1 arrest and you pled guilty to something else. Then you can apply for green card.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong.
I'm so sorry. As I said, don't do something stupid until you get citizenship. That's okay. Sorry.
That's true. Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. Piyush Patel is asking this next question. My name is Piyush Patel, 31 years old, divorced. I have a diamond polishing business in India, and I want to apply for L1.
Okay, L1, yeah, depends on, I presume you own that business, depends on what's your gross sales and how many people do you employ. The first L1A is not difficult. You can pay for incorporation in America, but depends. I would not do the L1A. I would do the tourist visa first and then come to America and see what you want to do instead of jumping into a L, because Indian and Chinese L1A for the first year is not difficult. It's the extension that's difficult. Worse is L1, you're smart, you want to do L1 because you can get a green card and then EB1C. The green card, even though theoretically it takes only 1.5 years, but it's very difficult because the most denial rate is from India and Chinese because we do a lot of L1s. So you need to look at the executive managerial job duty. You also have to pay a lot of tax because the salary level that you need to pay yourself in America is at least like 85,000 for at least the next 2 or 3 years. So first you do the first L1A, good for 1 year. First, you form a business at least 51% owned by the parent company, or 100. I prefer 100, but it just makes it easier. It's a transfer. Then you do the first L1A, but by the time you come to America, it'll be only 5 months left. Then you do another 2 or 3 year extension, which is 2 years. With tax return, how are we going to get tax return for the 5 years? So now we have to re-explain why I just came. And then after you have good tax return and hire at least 4 or 5 people, now I try to get the green card. So L1A, I know a lot of Indians and Chinese. In the olden days, Ukrainians and Russians asked for L1. But nowadays, of course, Ukrainian and Russians are gone now. Also Colombians, they also like the L1. Argentinians, they like L1s. But I would look at the case first. I would come as a tourist visa and figure out what you want to do, because L1 is very much your right. It's a work permit, a social security number, but the investment you have to make, even though there's no investment, it's not like an EB5 where you have to invest 800,000 and 10 people have to be created. At least there's a certain amount. L1A, there's no limit, even though the minimum is 0.
Okay, Ms. Wong, thank you so much. Our time is up for today, Ms. Wong, but thank you so much for each one of your answers. Piyush Patel, if you have any other questions, or if you want to make an appointment with attorney Margaret W. Wong, even from India, you can call the phone number 216-279-3984. Set your appointment over the phone, and Ms. Wong will be happy to call you and give you all the information on this kind of visa that for sure is going to be a good possibility for a business visa in the United States of America. Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. Anything else that you want to add for today's show?
Actually, no, but I would like to further explain that Mr. Patel case, because I was looking at diamond polishing. Woman loves diamonds. Diamonds are forever. And the reason why a lot of jewelers in India, they could afford to come to L1 is because through the years, it's a family business. So through the years, they have a lot of gold. They buy low, sell high. So they collected gold and diamonds and rubies and stuff. So they really have a lot of net worth. But when it comes to hiring people, they don't have that many people, because we do a lot of jewelers. So that's one thing why L1. L1 is more old law now. It's very prominent before COVID and maybe in the past 10, 15 years. But right before COVID and during COVID, it's becoming very much an old law. And that's a problem with being Indians and Chinese, because there's no other way to come. It's not like being Canadians or Mexicans or Latinos. You can come on an E2 and stuff. Indian and Chinese don't have it.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And have a good lunch. Take your time to have lunch, please.
Thank you.
And see you next week in our show on Wednesday at 9:30 a.m.
Thanks for listening, and thanks for helping us understand the world affairs. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And don't forget, you can call the phone number 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Make your appointment with the attorney Margaret W. Wong, and you will be so happy to have her or to talk to her in regards of your immigration case. 216-279-3984, attorney Margaret W. Wong, with over 46 years of experience.